Hey, Monkees fans, welcome to another Podcast Valley Sunday. I am one of your hosts, Chris Paco.
And I'm your other host, Jeff Cameron.
How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, not bad at all, Paco. How you doing?
Pretty good, hanging in, like everybody, I guess.
I hear you, bud. We're reaching to the tail end of our off season.
Yep, we are. Yeah, we're pulling in another special, and we probably have to explain this, because we're doing everything chronologically, like TV show, movie-wise.
Yes.
But we knew that if we did that and stuck just with the 60s, we'd be finishing with 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey, which doesn't have the best track record, let's just say.
It's kind of the Star Wars holiday special of the MCU.
Exactly. Man, I thought that actually while we were watching it. So if you haven't clued in yet, we are moving that up to today's episode. And we are going to be talking about 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey. We're jumping ahead, but we feel that it's also a good place to kind of kick off the second season, which sounds weird, but it is, because you don't want to end with it. You can't go from head to 33 1/3. It's just not, it's not going to be radical, I don't think. So 33 1/3 was a TV special, supposed to be the first one of three that the Monkees were going to do for NBC, right? And when did it come out? I should have this in front of me. I used to.
It was recorded the week of November 23rd to November 27th, 1968. And it didn't air until April 14th, 1969.
Oh, wow.
By the time in between recording it and airing it, Peter leaves. He bought his way out of the Monkees. And they put out Instant Replay. And they put out Teardrop City as a single. So a lot had happened in between that has nothing to do with this special that NBC had such faith in that they put it on against the Oscars.
Yeah, exactly. And they were saying, or I read actually, that there was a strike at NBC, which meant that the special couldn't be taped, but the stage space was found at MGM Studios. And so all the sets got transported there to shoot there, and it was edited with outdoor broadcast trucks and like sound stages and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it was almost like done like a live show, which technically I guess it was kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a lot going on with this. It was I don't know if you could say it's a troubled production, but it's definitely, another thing is, you claim we watched this when we were roommates way back when, that we saw.
Like before that, maybe. I don't know.
Because I gotta say, I didn't remember it before, and I was like, oh, when I watch it, I'll remember. And I honestly had no recollection of 33 1/3. Like, nothing. It's very interesting, because especially if you're sticking with the Monkees at the time, you had the TV show, maybe you didn't see Head, but you hear they're coming back on TV, and you're like, okay, cool, I'd like to see what they got going on here.
It's a weird deal, man.
Like,
it's a weird deal.
All right, let's just get into it. We'll break it down. Right. So it opens up with a mouth talking on someone's chest, right? It's on like a shirt kind of thing, but a frame with a mouth that says, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
The camera moves up the chest to the shot of a woman who's Julie Driscoll, and she's got super 60s eye makeup, and she looks super, like, completely 60s, and she screams,
Woman!
and then takes a bite of an apple. And it's like, seeing this, it's like a combination of like, this looks very 60s and could be very cool. But it's also kind of a thing like, am I watching the right thing?
For real.
Like, if you're a monkey, if you tune in to see the Monkee special and this comes on, you're like, oh, what? Sorry, I meant Channel 4, I guess. I thought NBC was Channel 2. You only had 3 to choose from.
For real.
And so then a guy's voice says,
We have the knowledge, evil though it be, to twist the mind to any lunacy we wish.
And this dude's Brian Auger. He's a jazz keyboardist known for his Hammond organ skills. And he's played with the Yardbirds, Jimi Hendrix. The Yardboards. Yeah. the Yardbirds, Jimi Hendrix, Rod Stewart, a bunch of other people. He's like well known. So at this point, he's probably just becoming well known in the 60s counterculture kind of stuff.
Yeah. But about a year later, they opened for Zeppelin in Pasadena, California.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool. Like, Julie Driscoll has this kind of very much Grace Slick, Jefferson Airplane vibe.
Very much.
Real, I don't know how you describe it, but
like
kind of all over
throaty
the
and
place.
loud.
Yes, very loud. And Brian Auger has that keyboard, that Stevie Winwood organ sound. It's a neat combination. And you would think this special is about them.
Exactly.
Really, if you're watching it. But hey, it's all right. It's fun, and they're doing their thing. And then finally, a full 2 minutes in to this thing, the Monkees materialize.
Yeah, because essentially what Auger's saying is he's going to brainwash celebrities who will in turn brainwash the world because of their celebrityness and spread the word.
Yeah, he said the quiet part loud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a weird shot of a monkey suit for like a split second. It just cuts this monkey suit for a second. Then the dude conjures up the monkeys, who show up out of nowhere, just like poof. And then he puts them in these tubes that come out of the ceiling, right? And for the longest time, this was the image I had of this special because it was the picture that was in the box set.
Correct.
So it was just by looking at that, I made up what 33 1/3 was about.
And I'm sure it hit you too how television it is, how video, compared to like the filmy nature of the show itself.
Yeah, and head as well. It's very,
Obviously head.
it's on tape for sure, like videotape. Which is probably might have come because having to use the trucks to edit it and doing it more like a live broadcast than a television show.
And like the stuff we see them doing at this point, we're like, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah. The graphics and the fast motion and slow motion and the rocking back and forth. Like a lot of video techniques are probably extremely cutting edge back in 1968 because you forget how long ago this was. Like, you know, the Beatles were still together.
Yeah.
Doing this trippy psychedelic video show.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I thought that too. Like now it looks cheesy, but yeah, it's probably radical. And it comes up too in Mike's part coming up, which is pretty neat. But anyway, so Auger, he seems to brainwash the boys and he takes away their names and he calls them Monkee 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who are you?
I am Mickey Dolan.
Wrong, you are monkey number one.
No, I am monkey number one.
Who are you?
I am Peter Tork.
Wrong, you are monkey number two.
No, I am monkey number two.
Who are you?
I am Michael Nesmith.
Wrong, you are monkey number three.
No, I am monkey number three.
Who are you?
David Jones.
Wrong, you are monkey number four.
No, I am monkey number four.
He turns on a big switch and the Monkees theme plays and he speeds it up and slows it down and tells them that they're all in his power. And then they pass out and he takes a bite of the apple. And then Julie Driscoll's narration, it's kind of like a cartoon witch or something, like the tone of it.
Your minds are free. Use them. Think yourselves out. Relax. Relax. Relax.
And then they're floating away into their fantasies. And the boys like float out of their own bodies and then into Mickey's on stage with some sort of R&B number. And he took it took me a little bit to realize he was singing I'm a Believer in this part.
Yeah, you can't tell right away.
No, and Mickey looks weird because his hair's flat. It's like Dolan's Jones Mickey, then Monkees Mickey almost.
We don't see Mickey too often looking like this because he's off the air.
Yeah. It was very. It's weird to see him like that, to be honest.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he's wearing his same outfit from the old Going Down video.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that black and white.
They thought, bring some of your Monkees clothes. Grab that tablecloth. Grab that outfit, the black shirt, and it looks like you're wearing no pants. And we're going to do some stuff. And this is kind of neat because they brought back an old song. They didn't do that for like Head.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if for the Circle Sky concert thing they did, let's say, Steppin' Stone?
Yeah.
And they could play the shit out of Steppin' Stone at this point. And that would have been a wild, wild thing to see.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting. It would have made Head completely different. They would have been like a Monkees in both eras, whereas Head kind of seemed like they're breaking, like what Head was about, them breaking away from the image, like killing the Monkees kind of thing.
Yes.
But in that, they could have played Stepping Stone and fucking Pete Townsend at the end of it, just fucking smashed everything. Is the end of Stepping Stone.
Like, I think you mentioned it just now. Briefly, they do the theme song, and it's all time shifted, which they do the exact same thing on the show itself.
Yeah,
they can't just play the song. They gotta mess with it.
Yeah, exactly. And so in this Mickey part, Julie starts to sing as well. And as we're saying before, it seems more like her special. It's like Julie Driscoll with special guest Mickey Dolenz, and they tried out a Monkee song so Mickey could sing it.
Yeah.
You know?
This ties into something I kind of kept track of, and I want you to take a guess. I noticed there's not a lot of the all four Monkees together on the screen at the same time, so I kind of logged the time for that over the course of this show, and later on I'm gonna ask you how much time you think the four of them are on camera together.
Yeah, I was gonna say, ask me at the end.
Yes, we'll talk about this at the end, and also in order to sort of tangibly rate how we feel about this, we're going to rank each section. I think we got 14 discrete little sections of the show here, and the first one being this Mickey Dolenz part, and we're going to rate them out of 5 stacked pianos. So I thought this very first part was very cool, very innovative, looks neat, sounds neat, and I'm a believer, you can't go wrong. So for the very first segment, I'll give it 5 out of 5 stacked pianos, Paco. What do you think?
Ooh, wow, 5 out of 5, eh? See, yeah, it's cool, because other things they do in this is like Mickey's in like a normal light, and she's in all red light on stage together, and he's singing to her, and she's not singing to him. She's looking the other way. But it's a cool version of I'm a Believer, and I'm going to give it 4 stacked pianos out of 5.
All right. That's fair.
Yeah. So at the end of this one, she spins to the camera, and the camera like kind of does like a spin weird move, and it transitions into like Peter, who's bathed in light, and there's tablas and sitars, and he's on like this pedestal kind of thing. It's all white and dreamy, and he sings I prithee do not ask for love.
Thou makest me free, then soon thou makest demands on me, and I am not thy love, thou workest in me slavery.
Which is a song I recognize, but I don't know it very well. Is it on like a special edition Monkees or something like that? Because
I think it's on a Missing Links, or at least a special edition of an earlier thing. Because I think they recorded it a long time ago. Yeah, they recorded it in '66 for during the More of the Monkees sessions with Mickey on lead, and they played it on tour. But
wow, this one really got the crowd going.
But the first version was unreleased until it was on Missing Links Volume 2.
Okay, the golden Missing Links.
Yeah, I think the Peter version shows up on that enormous instant replay reissue with all the tunes. They did the backing tracks, and then like a lot of the vocals were performed as they made the show and recorded that, and then just like left the tapes in the bathroom or something, and you've almost never seen them again until I don't know, somebody dug them up for special edition purposes, and it's like, yay. But in terms of the I'm a Believer, but the other stuff going on musically, it's like, I don't know, man.
Very weird. It's very weird. And it's interesting, why just do the one throwback Monkee song and then do other different songs? You know what I mean? It's interesting.
I think they didn't want to act like they're like an oldies act, even though it's just 2 years into it, and they don't want to lean on the old stuff that much.
Yeah.
But I think they want to own it and use it because it's them. It's their tune. It's their jam.
Yeah.
But they don't want to get too far into it. It's weird I mentioned him being an oldies act based on what happens a little later on in this show.
Yeah, so true.
But
So,
anyway, Peter doing pretty. It's Peter. It's kind of cool, but it's also kind of boring. How many stacked pianos would you give that?
I would give it. I'll go 3 stacked pianos. It's not as bad as a 2. I'd say no. I'll give it.
That's objectively true.
I'll give it 2 stacked pianos and a Casio keyboard. So like 2.5 essentially.
We're getting pretty granular here, folks. I'm rounding up. It's getting 6 out of 10 stacked pianos.
There you go.
All right.
Wait, is this out of 10 stacked pianos or 5 stacked pianos?
Well, we add them together, and then we average it out later, you see.
Okay, but each one's only out of 5.
You and me, we out of 5, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you tell me it's whatever out of 5.
What do you say?
I think it's 3 out of 5 for sure. Because, like you said, it ain't 2. So I think it's a good spot for it. And it's always nice when Peter does stuff. And I'm sure you noticed his sideburn game is on point.
Oh,
in
definitely.
This special. Oh,
Yeah, the
really?
Peter in the Head and 33 era, my favorite looking Peter.
I think those sideburns told him to quit the Monkees.
Yeah, they probably told him a lot of things.
Told him to join CSNY and P.
Yeah. So at the end of Peter's thing, it's all cloudy on the floor where these like followers are looking up at him, and this woman rises up out of it. And then we transition into the woman, Julie Driscoll's in a cowboy hat, and she takes a shot at a wanted poster with drawings of Mike on them. And then there's also a little Mike with an acoustic guitar all dressed up in his country best, like his white suit with blue stars on and cowboy hat to match. Yeah. And then rock and roll Mike, he's in a suit with his white Gibson SG. It's probably the same one he used in Head.
Probably, yeah.
He comes up, hops up, sits down next to country Mike. And the cool thing about this is like people have seen this. They saw like the Parent Trap and stuff. But with this, rock and roll Mike can reach over country Mike and go into his frame, which is like probably like some blue screen kind of stuff at the time.
Yeah, I think he's performing in front of a screen that he's also being projected on, like a green screen or something, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's probably put together afterwards, or like in the truck, like a weatherman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's how that worked. And it shows where Mike, it's like, hey, you got this little thing to do something, and he does something technically kind of neat and kind of tricky.
Yeah, and kind of foreshadowing his work with Pacific Arts and the Video Ranch and Rio, and just how into the video game, not video games.
Yeah.
But the creation of videos and the technology involved and the innovation and really pushing it to spots where we're not even close to being yet. Like, people always say, well, why is Rio a video and, Hard Day's Night isn't, the first music video or whatever. But like, you watch it, you understand. Like,
yeah,
stuff was storyboarded and scripted and money was spent and sets were made and costumes and like, it's an elaborate piece of work. But we're getting into the weeds here. While I was watching this earlier the day, someone had posted on a Monkee site how how there was 2 Davies on the show and there's 2 Mickeys on the show, and there's a couple episodes where there's like a clone Peter, and someone asked if Mike would had ever been doubled or whatever. And some people think like the Princess Gwen sort of counts, and my initial comment was, man, it was hard enough to get one Mike to show up to the show. Imagine trying to get 2 mics. And then like later that day, I'm sitting here watching this. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. And there he is, 2 mics.
Yeah, and when I was watching this, it's like there's country Mike and rock and roll Mike, and they're both going back and forth, fighting to be heard. It's like a country song, and Mike kind of sings along with himself. And then there's the rock and roll song that Mike kind of sings.
Well, the devil incarnate with running music supervision put me into a state of cataleptic euphemism. Somebody's preaching about the wonder world of communism. Me and I don't understand it all. So for a while, I'll just play my guitar, and I'll sing a couple of these tunes.
And I thought that, man, this could have been something that was actually going on within Mike himself, like the countryness of Mike and the rock and rollness of Mike, and which one's going to fight to get heard kind of thing.
He was for sure conflicted about that.
And that might have been what he was doing here, you know what I mean? So I think, makes you think a little bit about what was going on and why Mike chose to do this over whatever else he could have done, essentially. It's very interesting and very Mike.
Boom! And of course, during the segment, we have the fifth monkey, which is a gun.
Yes, exactly. Even in this, guns show up. Because at the end of this little thing, rock and roll Mike gets shot, and then country Mike gets shot, and then there's a silhouette of who I assume is Julie Driscoll. Wait.
Do you mean Country Mike from the Beastie Boys?
What country Mike?
Oh, wait, we did this already.
We did. And so then the shadow of her walks to a door, goes through it, and then we're in a child's bedroom from a toy's point of view. And then, hold on, let's get back. What do we feel about the Mike section?
I gave it 5 out of 5.
I gave it 5 out of 5 as well.
Innovation, and it's Mike. He gets the Nesmith bump, but he doesn't even need it. This is cool. It's innovative. They're pushing as hard as they can. It's a neat tune. And we don't get to say that too often during this hour-long ordeal. So you gave 5 out of 5 stacked pianos as well?
Yes. I do.
Okay, cool.
He understood it was a visual medium, and he made it visually interesting to watch on top of just being a musical part.
Totally.
So anyway, now we go into the weirdest one. This child's bedroom, toys point of view, Davy and the woman, they're toys. Like Davy and Julie are toys.
She's got my jacket.
Davy starts to wake up all the dolls around him, of course. And he dances with a Raggedy Ann type doll.
Smiling a painted smile for a while, Raggedy Ann and I walk along under the painted sky. Funny how time is flying.
It's all very like kitsch in like a not cool kitsch way. It's like
this is like the pure uncut Davy Jones style stuff.
Yeah. It's like straight up, if I was watching this with other people there, I'd be embarrassed that I made them watch this. Like if I was trying to show the Monkees are cool and this comes up, I'd be like, oh man. And again, not knocking Davey, not knocking if you like this kind of stuff. It's very, I don't even know how to describe it.
It's strange. It feels like he's almost typecast himself in these little boy roles.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is like what a corner of his mind looks like. And we're always complaining that Davy Jones doesn't know what rock and roll is. And this is another, like, Davy, come on, man.
Yeah, it's anyone who's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, he dances with all of the dolls, and it's reminiscent of the Daddy song Part and Head, except it's not awesome. And like,
there's your pull quote, folks.
Yeah, but it's like, the Daddy song thing is also very Davy Jones, him and her girl dancing, but it's got that cool flashing between the black and white and white and black things. The song is wicked. It's a Harry Nilsson song. It's just radical. And this kind of, you could see he's kind of going for that direction, but I feel it missed the mark. That's what I feel.
Agreed. I give it 1 unstacked piano.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 2 just because, but honestly, I can't
even think of a reason to give it 2.
No.
So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, so that's
sorry, Dave, but that's how she goes.
Yeah,
Podcast Valley Sunday. I mean, just make a better segment. But at one point, Brian Auger, voiceover makes an interesting point about their fantasies.
Interesting fantasies they have. Fixation, withdrawal, schizophrenia, regression.
And then Davey finishes up his dance number, and then Brian Auger says we should continue with the brainwash.
Send them back to the tubes. We shall continue with the brainwash.
And then we cut back to the boys in the tubes, and the guy's laughing at them. And it seems he has a mustache now, right? It's like a different version of Brian Auger. who pops up.
I think it's a different dude.
Oh, it's a different dude entirely.
The Darwin guy.
Oh, maybe that's the Darwin guy.
Yeah, because of course Darwin shows up.
Yeah.
And, like, at some point, the whole evolution thing in 33 1/3 is probably. So is like some executives didn't know anything about the Monkees. Okay, we need to put a special together. Monkees, primates, evolution. Okay, let's do it like an evolution thing. let's try to relate it back. Who is that evolution guy? What was his name? Darwin. Yeah, let's do a little bit about Darwin on here. What do you say?
Yeah.
it really seems kind of thrown together based on the most tenuous connections.
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
whole thing.
And so after Darwin laughs at them, they goes to like a commercial break.
Which reminds me, I also read somewhere that some affiliates played the segments out of order.
Yes, I read that as well.
And
on the West Coast or something, they played them out of order.
And, I'm not super duper sure it would have made a difference.
Oh, no. Those segments could be played in any order.
They're like the Police Academy movie.
Yeah. It's like Davies. They kept pushing behind, like to the back of the pack, back of the pack, back of the pack. Then it has to be last. And it's like, ooh, man, not a good one to end on. But you also don't want to put that foot forward.
Correct.
All right. So we come back from commercial break. And now the boys are wind-up toys because the other toy section worked so well. And they're singing, I'm a wind-up man programmed to be entertaining.
I'm a wind-up man programmed to be entertaining. Turn the key. I'm a fully automatic wind-up man.
And the boys are essentially, they're doing the robot. And the song is about how they view themselves. And it's very much like the overall vibe they're going for in head. Do you know what I mean?
It's the Diddy Diego thing.
Yeah, their growing pains are so... They want out of the Monkees image so badly, but want to just kind of remake themselves as the Monkees, but let everybody know we've cut ourselves off from this corporate Monkees, I guess.
Yes. And I'm fairly certain it's a coincidence that their outfits, at least the upper half, is very similar to their outfits from the pilot episode. Here come the Monkees. The yellow shirts and the vests. But
yeah, that's true.
Probably a coincidence.
You think so? It's pretty...
I don't know, man.
I hope it's not. I should have watched the commentary. So a sign comes down that says this space for rent. And Brian Auger comes back. And he says that he's going to make a song for them to dance to and starts playing a piano. And this is where the special gets real weird and very awesome at the same time, which is what we learned to love about the Monkees, essentially.
We start with a simple rhythm. Ach so.
The camera pulls back, and we see that he's playing piano on top of another piano that's being played by Jerry Lee Lewis. We continue to pull back, and Jerry Lee Lewis is on a piano that's being played by Little Richard. Continue to pull back, Little Richard's on a piano that's being played by Fats Domino. It's a quadruple decker of pianos played by rock and roll pioneers, and Brian Auger on top of the whole damn thing, screaming fucking nonsense.
The turtle has a hypnotic effect, and the minds of the public will be utterly wrecked.
It's wild.
It's for what it is amazing. Like, it's unreal.
And once again, it's kind of hard to get perspective on the newness of rock and roll still. And what were Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and Fats Domino actually up to? They're probably past their heyday. They didn't put out a Sgt. Pepper or anything. They're probably on the State Fair circuit or like whatever they called it back then, because this is still all very new.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, Elvis is still skinny.
Yeah.
It's so strange, but even seeing those guys in the late 60s seems a bit out of time, a bit strange. And, like, they get these guys, but they didn't have, like, Zappa or Hendrix or their contemporary buddies that they were palling around with back when they had the show. They don't. Those guys aren't answering the phone anymore when the Monkees call, but these guys... Fats Domino, he might not have been up to anything. Was Chubby Checker unavailable? I don't know, man.
He didn't play piano. Like, what you're saying is, how come the Monkees went with these 50s dudes And is it kind of like they're going with the evolution thing? So going back to the beginning. So going back to the beginning of rock and roll and then trying to make it tie in somehow. You know what I mean? Like, is that how they tried to sell it?
Maybe someone had that idea in the boardroom. Okay. Let's call these guys up. I was going to say before we get too far from the wind-up man segment.
Yes.
How many stacked pianos do you give wind-up man?
I'll give it 2 stacked pianos.
2 stacked pianos?
Yeah.
I give it 2 as well for 2 reasons. The 4 Monkees are singing together.
Exactly.
We don't see that often at all. And they do it a bunch in this thing.
Yeah.
And also because I like the font on the sign that drops down. It's one of my favorite, that old school 60s, like late 60s Yellow Submarine, computery, arcade font. Love it.
I hear you. I was going to say, when they go to each dude playing on this piano, it's like watching like Jerry Lee Lewis rip when he's just got that one hand just pounding down on it. It was just awesome to see these dudes doing what they do. Fats Domino's those huge rings on his fingers.
Yep.
And for what it is, it's very I thought it was very awesome to see. It was thus far into this, it was the highlight of 33 1/3 for sure.
Yes. I didn't have that as a rateable thing, that little tiny moment with the stacked pianos, but we could kind of weave that into the medley part when the rest of the gang is there. After we meet the piano boys, there's a brief part with the Wind Up Monkees again where they sing about Darwin.
Yeah.
And they kind of introduce Darwin himself. And I dig this little Darwin song, even though it's barely exists. I think it's kind of neat. The harmonies are cool, and it sounds good.
In the beginning, there was Darwin. Yes, my card. Number in Holloway is. Then came the fish. But without the chips, of course. Ha ha.
So for that little part, I gave it 3 out of 5 stacked pianos.
Nice.
So
I will as well. Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Again, the Monkees are singing together, and we just like when that happens.
Yeah, it's fun. So then they cut to a volcano that explodes, and there's a bunch of dancers in full body stockings in front of a green screen type thing. In the background is like different scenes of red and white lava lamp stuff. And the dancers do some interpretive dance while someone does like a narration.
Away, away, creation, away, and breathe.
And like, I mean this is a compliment, but like, this is the kind of thing I feel you'd see on the Muppet Show. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
A weird, trippy thing happening. You don't know what's going on, but some kind of dance and movement with weird music and backgrounds.
It's a variety show written all over it.
Yeah. Yeah. The music is like tribal-ish. And honestly, I'd have no idea I was watching the Monkee special. Like if I tuned in late, you'd have no idea.
Yeah. The evolution dance segment. How many stacked pianos do you give that shit? For instance, I gave it 1 due to the context of it being a Monkee special.
Yeah.
And it's not even it just doesn't seem like it's neither entertaining nor informative.
I'll give it 2 because it reminded me of the Muppets.
All right, fair enough.
So Darwin comes back and he says the fittest shall survive.
And the fittest shall survive.
And it goes into a part where the music reminds me of the scene in The Big Lebowski, like when he goes to Jackie Treehorn's house and they're bouncing that girl on the trampoline.
Yep.
It reminds me of that. And anyway, Darwin shows up, and it cuts to the boys dressed as monkeys, singing about being monkeys. And once again, it's something that I'd be kind of embarrassed watching with other people.
I'm a ding-dong gorilla and I carry on caveman style. I'm gonna bop you on the head and love you all the while.
It's just like so goofy and yeah, I don't know. A lot of the footage is rocked back and forth.
I don't know.
Yeah.
This song sucks.
The song's bad. They don't seem... It's like, what? How did they get talked into this part? How did they talk themselves into this part?
I think this is... You can almost detect the exact moment when Peter decides he's going to quit.
Oh, yeah. I also feel this was a picture we've seen from this. Might have been the box sets. Like that.
Yeah, there was a
Monkee
I Go
suits.
Ape picture from the box set.
Yeah.
I'm like, where's this? Is this an I Go Ape song?
I remember
And,
drawing that picture a lot.
I remember eventually noticing that I Go Ape is not on the box set. It's not on any record. This is like some weird, mysterious song.
Yeah.
And,
it ranks
like-
lower than the Kellogg's jingle.
Which is way catchy.
It is really catchy.
I would give that 4 out of 5 Kellogg's parachutes.
100%. So, yeah, the song is easily / hopefully forgettable. And the whole thing made me think, like, we stick with this for 4 minutes, right? Over 4 minutes. But the Piano God Pyramid was 23 seconds.
Yeah, like I was starting to miss the evolution dancers, really.
Exactly. Yeah, the cool ideas are wasted and the bad ones don't get any air to breathe or get too much air to breathe.
Yeah, I gave it 2 out of 5 just because of the video tricks, the audacity of what they're up to, and like whatever. The spirit is there, but the execution is kind of lacking, and the song sucks.
Yeah. If I saw it without sound, like if I was at a party and I just saw this going on, I'd be like, whoa, that looks pretty, and that's crazy. But then when I heard it, I'd be like, oh no, that's completely sane.
How many stacked pianos do you give I Go Ape, Paco?
2.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. All right. So Darwin pops back up and he says that evolution can do no more and science has to pick up where he left off, essentially. And he hands the monkeys back off to Augur with the cape. And he hands them off to the woman from the beginning, or Julie Driscoll. And she sings a song while the monkeys are caught in a net.
Don't you hear the music? Don't it feel good? Let me get it to you. Try and let go. You don't have to worry.
I don't know, during the rock freak out part at the end of the song, she goes like all vampire. And then the apple makes another appearance. And she feeds it to Peter, and then to Augur, and then she just throws it on the ground. And all that stuff's weird, but the organ jam, awesome. Super awesome. The drummer rips. Bass player's awesome. Julie starts to sing again, and it gets like a little less awesome, but the band holds its own, and it just stays wicked. She's a really good singer, like how we said, very grace, like very big, but there's not a monkey in sight. Like they're in a net on the floor, but that's the closest we get, and this is like. As far as contemporary music, this is the best musical moment of the show so far. And the monkeys are in a net.
It's 33 1/3 revolutions per Julie Bryan and the Trinity.
Pretty much, man.
But I mean, it's a good tune. They're a decent band. They can play. And they've caught a few pretty big breaks. But I had never heard of them until we watched this special. How about you?
Same with me, man. But watching, I knew the name Brian Augur. I'll say that much. And Julie Driscoll, I knew the names, but I didn't. If you would have said who are they, I probably said actors. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's amazing on organ.
Yeah.
And she's a great singer. So yeah, it's very weird. The band's wicked. So very 60s. And you're right. Caught a lot of breaks, but didn't catch the right ones, I guess.
Like, it's what a lot of bands probably sounded like between Summer of Love and Woodstock. Like, I don't know if they're from San Francisco, but they might as well have been.
Yeah.
They sound like a lot of that vibe.
100%. Yeah, they had to have been in that scene somehow because they were heavily influenced very early on. So
they're British.
Yeah.
I didn't notice during all the talking that they were British. But
I knew he was from somewhere, not Southern California.
Yeah.
So yeah, he might have come over like Hendrix and stuff, like when Hendrix went over to England and that whole scene. They might have been a part of that, which also heavily influenced what was going on.
He shared a plane with Jimmy.
Yeah.
It was a trade, I guess, maybe. I don't know. we gotta give some stacked pianos to Julie Bryan and the boys. Just objectively speaking, they rock it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stacked pianos, Bob.
I was also going to give it 4. Excellent. It's great.
It is the third highest rated portion of the show so far.
Nice. So, song wraps up. The boys all teleport back to their spaceship or wherever. And Augur says that he'll brainwash them and they'll brainwash the world again. And then everyone laughs like lunatics.
I'll brainwash them, and they'll brainwash the world!
I don't believe it.
And then we go to a commercial break. Come back from commercial break. Everybody went and got their cornflakes and their Tang or whatever.
Maybe a little acid.
If you're taking it now, it's so late. I guess I wouldn't be taking it for this. You're taking it for later tonight. You're gonna watch the rest of the Oscars on acid. I was gonna say you were taping this, but you weren't.
Nay.
So anyway, there are flashes of pictures of the original rock stars, like Chuck Berry et al. I noticed Elvis wasn't one of them.
No, it might have been something.
And Augur's saying that the boys are fixed to be the biggest rock stars, and their show at the Paramount is ready to go on December 7th, 1956. And it cuts to Augur looking like he's from the 50s, and he introduces the Monkees.
Their debut at the Paramount is fixed. December 7th, 1956, and here they come, idolized, plasticized, psychoanalyzed, sterilized, the Monkees!
Which I didn't know what the frig was going on at this point. Like, it was just kind of like, okay, cool, now we're in the 50s. And the boys come out all doo-woppy, and they sing the hop.
Birdcage. The birdcage.
And I have to say, Mickey's probably sounding the worst in this special. It's
he's having a great time during this part.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask Mickey twice to jump out front and sing some rock and roll songs.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, you can rock it, you can roll it, you can stop it, David, roll it at the hop, hop, hop. When the band starts playing, you can lift with the chicken at the hop, hop, hop.
It's not like he's like not hitting the notes or singing badly, but he doesn't seem to be caring. You know what I mean? He's just getting through it. Like just
maybe.
meh.
I don't know. He seems to be giving her with some enthusiasm at some points, but
yeah. It's just his voice isn't Mickey style. I thought he was more subdued, but who knows? Maybe it's me. But anyway, so Fats Domino shows up. He lays down a wicked verse from I'm Ready. Then Jerry Lee Lewis rips a verse from Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. He throws it to Little Richard, who sings Tutti Frutti. And like, it's a blast. It's just fun. It's not like it's not innovative. And it's not like, whoa, this is trippy, man. It's just like, holy shit. It's these guys fucking, like how we were saying, what were they doing? And now they're in this special. To them, the Monkees are like the Beatles because they don't know what the hell anyone is. So like, wow, they asked us to be on this special. This is our chance to get to a younger audience. Let's fucking kill it. And they killed it. And it's fun to watch. I gotta say, to me.
No, it's very cool.
Yeah,
and it is like you said, it's fun to watch. It's very cool, almost like a tribute to the 50s with the dudes themselves there. Mm-hmm. And it's very strange to get perspective on it. It's the late 60s, and they're like, "Hey, man, remember the 50s? It was only 10 years ago." But it's hard to wrap your head around the culture and how fast it was moving and how passé these things might have been.
Yeah. And so like there's sock hop dancers and they show up and they start dancing like crazy. Fats does another verse and he's like this shit. Then there's some archival footage of people dancing. Classic Monkees trope there, just using some old stock footage of people dancing. Yeah. Monkees are singing and dancing. Who's the girl group that comes in to sing?
There's the Clara Ward Singers, and there's also the We Three is another act.
Yeah, they're wicked too. They're really good. And then Mickey says,
Hey man, dig that crazy chick.
For no reason, because then it's Fats Domino singing Blue Tuesday. So.
Although they briefly cut to Marilyn Monroe there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But for I don't even know why. Just because she's from the 50s, I guess.
I guess just to. I don't know.
But she's not even. Yeah, just
we've
weird.
We have a pic, not even stock footage. We have a picture of Marilyn.
Yeah.
Stick it in here somewhere.
Yeah, weird. And Fats Domino's got like that sparkly jacket and his big rings and everything.
Oh yeah, and the terrifying, the dry bones skeletons superimposed onto them.
Yeah.
That's when the bad acid kicks in.
Yeah. The Monkees do another little skit, and it's like, this is what we're supposed to be excited about, is seeing the Monkees, but they really just kind of get in the way of their own special. Like, when something's rolling, they do something that's dumb, and you're like, oh man, what is this? Davey sings Little Darlin', and it's good, but really no one's here to watch. The Monkees sing tunes from the 50s, when they've got the best guys from the 50s singing their own tunes.
You can really notice that, like, sure, Mike and Peter have for real awesome sideburns. Mickey, it's more about the on top head of the hair than the sideburns, but he's got good little chops going on. But Davey, his sideburns are just long hair. Grown up. It doesn't grow out of his cheeks. It's just long hair.
Yeah, he just styles it down.
It's so man can't grow a beard.
Don't trim the front sides, man. I got to use those in my sideburns.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, and also there's the boys singing together.
Yeah.
Right? And they sound great. Like they do the ba 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 ba. Like it's
neat.
That's not easy to do. And they just give her, and it sounds great.
Yeah, it's fun.
How many stacked pianos do you give this segment?
Oh man, I'd give this 4 definitely.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I'd give it 5, but them dry bone skeletons gave me nightmares. So.
Yeah, it was crazy. One thing, do you think that it was a live thing? Like these guys just rattled it off one after the other, like bam, bam, bam? Or do you think it was like they filmed a piece, okay, now the next one, filmed a piece, now okay, the next one? Or it was like, no, we're doing this live, like it's Ed Sullivan?
I think they banged it out as best they could, but they might have like trimmed it down in the van like we do here.
Yeah, perhaps. So then at the end, there's a skeletons come dancing, the screen catches on fire, and it transitions into the next scene, which is Brian Augers holding a burning tiki torch type thing, and he breaks the fourth wall and says,
Wait a minute, Jack, hold on a minute, stop the show. Look, this brainwashing bit has got completely out of hand. You know, look, I'm Brian Auger and this is Julie Driscoll. And we don't want any more of this sort of brainwashing business. What we want is complete and total freedom. Complete and total freedom. Now, do you realize what that means?
Yeah. Utter bloody shambles.
Right.
So the special just gives up on itself.
It really does. Yeah, it's like this.
Everybody involved is like, this is unbelievably stupid.
But it's true. Everyone was just like, let's pull the Kellogg's parachute and get out of here. So then it goes into a Davy Jones song about a string on a kite.
A string for my kite would really be nice.
And he's essentially in the back room with props. And he's on top of a staircase to nowhere, much like the Pad had that staircase to nowhere.
Yeah.
The camera pulls back, and he's in a huge room filled with stuff like jukeboxes and columns and drums and amps and mannequins and just a million things. Mm-hmm. And then Peter walks in and sits down an electric piano and starts playing like classical Atari music. And it's pretty sweet to see Peter just rip it on this electric piano.
Classical Atari music. Getting ahead of ourselves here. Okay, after we break the fourth wall and go to total freedom, we go to like you said, typical Davy Claptrap, string for my kite. He needs a string for his kite. He's holding a ball of string.
He needs a kite for his string.
they thought this through. And so we got to give Davy's little song. How many peonies?
Two.
Two. Similar here. How many peonies do you give Peter on the peony?
I'll give that 3.
After Pete does his thing, and then Mickey and Mike are walking in and setting up the stuff. And at this point, onward, it's just they're jamming. It's pretty much where it ends. So when Mickey and Mike are walking in, that's when we hit the 42-minute mark, and that's pretty much where I stopped counting how often we see the 4 boys together on screen, kind of all there doing the thing.
Yeah.
For the rest of the show. So in those 42 minutes, how many minutes do you think we see the boys together on the screen at once?
I would say 16 minutes and 23 seconds.
Out of the 42 minutes of the first 42 minutes of the special, the 4 boys are on screen together for 6 minutes and 17 seconds.
I should have just said 6.
In a show with the Monkees in the title.
Wow.
This is their last project together, and they share the screen, all 4 of them, for just over 6 minutes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Because all their songs, similar to the records they're putting out at the time, it's all individual numbers.
Yep.
And a lot of it is a bunch of dancers and the Brian Auger band. And so, yeah, when you get down to it, the 4 boys together, the reason people are watching this, in theory, 6 minutes.
Wow.
And change.
That's surprising.
Now, how Evs, at this point in the show, Mike puts on, what is he playing? He's playing his Les Paul, I think, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I think so, yeah.
And they just start jamming, listen to the band.
Hey, hey, mercy, woman plays a song and no one listens. I need help, I'm falling again. Play the drum a little bit louder, tell me I can live without her if I only listen to the band. Listen to the band.
This was a single that wouldn't come out until 2 weeks after the show aired.
And also, like, when they first start sitting down, it's like you see them like tuning up, Mickey's adjusting his seat and all this stuff, and it feels like you're watching like a DVD special feature or something like that, like a behind the scenes thing. Like, and it honestly, it's the first time it feels real. You know what I mean? Like you're watching a Monkees thing that's going to be kind of cool.
It's really them, and I'm pretty sure it's the last time Peter plays with them. And, until '86. Well, no, they just briefly shows up at a Dolan's Jones Boyce and Hart show, I believe, in like the late 70s. He shows up. So I don't know if you see the picture of him with the beard and the banjo.
Yep,
so
I remember that.
There's that. But this is the last moment of the classic era Monkees.
Yeah, and it starts off with just Mike singing, playing himself. The other guys join in. Davey has the tambourine. And as they play, like more people start showing up, grooving out to the music. Like we say, it's great to see them play together. You know, watching Mickey play drums is great to watch, I think, because he's left-handed, and I think he's playing like right-handed drums, so he's got that weird like Ringo movement. That weird Ringo movement to him, because Ringo's left-handed. And suddenly the performance is huge. And there's like a horn section. Seems like double drums. There's a ton of people there.
Organs going on. Yeah, at least 2 or 3 drum sets being played.
Someone's got a sign that says, he's really playing this. And there's a drum breakdown, some psychedelic dancing and effects, a bunch of percussion. Auger has some sort of narration over this part, and then it goes back to listen to the band. And it's a great freak out to wrap up this special. It's like it ends like wow them in the end kind of thing if you want people to like it.
Yeah, it's kind of a clip show about itself. They kind of had some visually treated shots from earlier in the show.
Yeah.
This is pretty neat. I gave it 5 out of 5 stacked pianos.
I would definitely give it 5 out of 5. Like, because like you're saying and everybody's saying, this was like the last time you saw it. This could have been the last time people saw the 4 Monkees together playing. And I'm really glad they went out playing a song
Yes.
Playing it together, more people come, make it a party. And it was great. And I don't know. I can't imagine what like parents in like 1969 watching this wonder what happened to their television shows.
No doubt.
But you know, it this part's super radical. It goes on for a long time, you know, but that's not that's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's just it just keeps going and going.
I sent you the shot of that kid at the 50-minute mark.
Yeah.
one of the drummers, he's like,
yeah,
1,000-yard stare. He's like, what the fuck?
What am I doing?
Let it end.
Yeah. And then so like the camera pulls back from the scene. It's a picture of a book, and it says chaos has come again. No, chaos is come again, which doesn't sound right at all. Mm-mm. And then the ape closes the book, and the book is called The Beginning of the End.
Whoa.
And the credits roll over a heartbeat and heavy breathing, and someone saying the end.
The end. The end. The end.
And they're like, the weird dancers are there, like laying in different positions, and Peter starts singing California, Here We Come at the end of it. It's just weird.
Here it comes.
Yeah, sorry. And it's quite true for Peter, because like he quit the Monkees like 2 days later, essentially.
And there's a big explosion, and that apparently represents Southern California and the Monkees being blown up.
Yep.
And that's that.
And that's the end of 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey.
Oof.
So yeah.
How much? How do you? Okay. California, Here We Come. Just how many pianos?
Oh, the very end part?
Yeah, it's a song. It counts. What do you think?
I don't know. 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, 33 1/3. I don't know. I'm glad you can see it. I'm glad it's available. If you haven't seen it, you can watch it on YouTube, actually, if you're going to be steely about it. But it's on the Blu-ray box set. I don't know. It's almost, to be honest, it's almost worth it for that last scene of them doing Listen to the Band. You know what I mean? It's almost like I Am the Walrus in Magical Mystery Tour. It's like people hate it. And then everyone's like, yeah, but I Am the Walrus is played. And like, yeah, that's right. There is that.
Listen to the Band is definitely the Boba Fett cartoon of this particular project.
Yeah. Listen to the Walrus. I gotta say, I don't know how often I'll go back to rewatch it, but I'm glad it exists for what it is, I guess. But it's for diehard Monkees fans only, I would say. I wouldn't recommend. Like, I recommend Head to people, just saying like it's crazy, trippy, 60s, doesn't make sense, but it's radical. I would not recommend this just to somebody to be like, hey, you should check this out.
Yeah, this is not a gateway thing.
No.
This isn't the Head soundtrack. This is not something you could put on and say, I don't know what you know about the Monkees, but they're actually really cool. You should check this out.
Yeah.
This thing is, the weird bad vibes are heavy. Feels like the people involved don't know what to do with the Monkees when they have them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the credits, there's no familiar names except for Ward Sylvester, who was an executive producer on the original show. I don't know exactly what he did, but he seemed like he was a buddy of the Monkees.
Yeah, you see his name a lot.
Yeah, but there's no Bob and Bert. There's no Jim Frawley. There's no Dee Caruso. The people who are involved with making them entertaining for TV, let's say.
They couldn't pay me enough to work on this shit. Thank you, Dee.
Oh, thank God he stopped by. It's something. Obviously, it's not our favorite, but it's the Monkees. It's all 4 of them. Yep. It is what it is. And ultimately, through my calculations, we give it a 61%. So just into the jams level. It's not a jelly as far as we're concerned, but it's we don't love it. But I think it's got enough decent stuff. And ultimately, the fact that the boys are in it together for, like we said, only like 6 minutes.
That's crazy.
It's like, imagine if they were only in Head together for 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't make it doesn't make a ton of sense.
But yeah, you and I were talking about it before, and it was like, head was like when you graduate and the world's in front of you and you're ready to take it by the balls and you're being risky and you're just out there being yourself, and here you go. And 33 1/3 feels like something happened and you came back home with your tail a little bit between your legs and you're trying to kiss up to people that you were kind of mean to, but you're still trying to not be so conformist, but you're kind of still playing the game. And that's the vibes I get from each of these.
That's pretty accurate, bro. Yeah. I think that's definitely kind of what we're dealing with.
All right.
And the results there on the screen, folks.
Yeah. So on that note, I guess we'll be wrapping up our 33 1/3 revolutions per monkey special.
Yeah, dude.
Fantastic. I hope you guys liked it. It was a little longer, but we didn't want to break this into 2 parts and make you sit through 2 parts, 33 1/3 when we've made you sit through 2 parts of everything lately. So one long one.
There we go. And we'll be back before you know it with season 2.
Season 2 coming. I'm very excited. excited. So 2 weeks from today, unless you're listening to this later, then you can listen to it next, is season 2. Here we go. It's going to get good.
Yay.
All right. So from me, Paco.
And me, Jeff.
Have yourself a monkey's little evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Monkees fans. With everything going on with social distancing, Podcast Valley Sunday will be on every 2 weeks. We hope you're staying safe, we hope you're staying at home, and we hope that you're listening to the Monkees and obviously Podcast Valley Sunday. You can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And please, rate us and leave a message. We'd love to hear from you. But, as always, be gentle with us. We're very sensitive.